I feel like I'm not building trust, and then I'm not building credibility, and then that increases the anxiety even more, which then perpetuates those thoughts even more. So the challenge that I've been discussing with a therapist is, how do I break that feedback loop? Hello everybody. Hope you're having a great day today. Today we're going to be talking about a couple of different things. So today, first we'll give a mental health update. Seems like the video where I talked a little bit about starting therapy has gotten some traction. I've gotten some positive feedback. So it seemed like you guys would like to continue to hear about those updates and what's the progression of talking to a therapist. And then just talking about, kind of what's been going on for my future plans with myself, with Tiny Tater, the bike, the future bike I'm planning on getting, and we'll talk about that a little bit. So I've been seeing a therapist for about 6 weeks now. Every conversation has been fantastic. It's been very helpful. It's been a constant reminder to myself of what I already know and what I just need to keep doing, and being diligent and disciplined about that. She's been very helpful in asking good questions. Really, at the very least, just being like a sounding board for me to bounce ideas off to, just to talk, and just kind of see if there can be any different perspectives to kind of what I've been experiencing. So more recently, it's been a lot about stress and anxiety and having some difficulties with work. That's cute. Those two little kids, little kid on a bicycle. That was adorable. But stress, anxiety, and just really dealing with all the stuff that's kind of been coming up with at work, and just having to deal with all the stuff at home. Namely, just I can't go a week without something breaking in the house. And so that's been incredibly frustrating, because normally if something broke in the house, I would just fix it myself. But since we're renting, I'm not allowed to fix it. I have to open up a ticket with the property management and have someone come out to fix even very minor things. And which that in itself isn't that big of a deal, but it becomes an issue when I have to wait for weeks for them to come and fix a basic issue. And I can't go like 2 weeks without something breaking. So it's the faucet, it's the dishwasher, it's the bathroom, it's light fixtures not being wired properly, the garage door with the sensors not being wired properly now. And so that's really frustrating, and then everything going on at work, and so it's just a lot that just piles up. So after speaking with the therapist and talking about a few things, and kind of talking through my family's kind of mental health, and some of the known issues that my grandmother had, that my brother has had, so it seems like there are symptoms of kind of like a generalized anxiety disorder, which isn't really surprising to me at all. And I've learned to cope with it really well, but with all the stuff going on at work, where it's just so chaotic and just a lot of ill planning and just too many different cooks in the kitchen, if you know that phrase. Basically, too many people involved, too many opinions, very unclear direction, a lot of ambiguity, and just a lot of disengagement from the team, because it's just perpetual change after change after change. And so there's a sense of, why should I bother doing any of this work if this is going to change and it's not going to matter, which I wholeheartedly sympathize with and empathize with. And a lot of this is what I walked into, right? I've been at my new job for 5-6 months now, and this project that I'm managing has been a cluster right from the get-go, and it's just continuing to be very, very difficult. Like, we've made a lot of progress, but it just continues to be incredibly difficult. It's a lot of the mental health challenges that I've been having, the anxiety and all that, has been as a direct result of all of that, because I have a challenge of personalizing those issues. Even though it's not my fault, it was something I walked into, this was not something I knew I was walking into. And even with all the known challenges, the fact that there's so much that's outside of my control, when something goes wrong, even though it's not my fault and it's outside of my control because it's quote unquote my project, I personalize it as if it is my fault, and that I'm not doing a good job, and that I'm failing the team, and that I am doing things wrong and I'm not leading the team to success, and I'm not, at the very least, helping to solve that frustration or to help bring some clarity and all that stuff. And the feedback I've gotten from the team is that, no, I am doing a good job and I am bringing clarity and I am helping people and I am helping to drive engagement, but it just doesn't feel like it, right? So I continue to struggle with that personalization of those challenges that the team is facing, even though 90% of those challenges are completely outside of my control. It's like that little inner voice telling me that I'm not doing a good job, right? I've only gotten positive feedback from the team. The team has been very understanding of everything, but it creates a feedback loop where, because I don't feel like I'm making a meaningful difference, I feel like I'm not building trust, and then I'm not building credibility, and then that increases the anxiety even more, which then perpetuates those thoughts even more. So the challenge that I've been discussing with a therapist is, how do I break that feedback loop? How can I focus on what people are actually saying to me, and focusing on that positive feedback, focusing on what is in my control, and just doing the best I can do and not necessarily worrying about everything else that is outside of my control. We've been making some progress there. It is a bit difficult. One of the other things that we have been talking about is something around time management. And I'm actually going to be making a mototherapy video on this, because time management is complete bullshit, in my opinion. You know, you can't make time, you can't really do anything about time. It's going to pass at a uniform rate whether we do something or not. So it's really about priority management, not time management. So anyway, I'll talk about that in a separate video. But we were kind of talking about that as a mechanism to help get more organized and get more disciplined, and really being able to focus on all of the tasks that need to get done and not putting them off for later. Because that was one thing that I was having a challenge with, was because of all the anxiety, and I would feel really disengaged, and I would not be excited about work, and I would not be happy or thrilled about my work. It was very difficult to see the connection of what am I doing and how is it actually helping people. And because I wasn't clear, I wouldn't really feel connected to the work. And so some basic things I could do, like if there was something I could do today, I'd be like, you know, I just don't feel it, I'm not feeling it, let's put it off for tomorrow. And that's not a healthy habit to get into. And if it's something I can do today and I'm not waiting on someone else, then I should be doing it today. So it's been building some discipline and rigor around that. And that has been helpful, because I have no excuse to put things off. You know, I made a conscious decision to try and lead by example. And because that is in my control. And this goes back to some of the charity work that I'm looking to do. And if you're interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend you go and watch one of my more recent videos where I talked about finding a charity to partner with, because that is going to help me get more engaged with the other facets of my life. So if I'm being disengaged at work, what I can at least do is focus on other ways where I can become engaged in other facets of my life, and then bring that energy back to work. That's kind of where I'm at. And then leading by example, because I know the team is really disengaged. I'm coming at it from a perspective of, this is what I'm doing to get engaged in the project. This is how I am bringing energy into the project, beyond just what the tasks and deliverables we have to do, but really trying to get engaged and find passion in the work. Finding that passion elsewhere and then channeling that energy back into work is kind of the current plan. So at the very end of the day, you know, literally the worst case scenario is, even if all things stay the same, where the team is disengaged and I'm having a hard time at work and finding passion and feeling like what I'm doing actually matters, at the very, very, very least, the work I'm doing with the charity is going to help somebody else. Like, that's literally the worst case scenario. Wow, this lake has dried up. If you watch some of my older videos, this whole place used to be completely full of water. Kind of goes to show how much of a drought California's been in. We did just get some rain recently, so that's why everything's pretty green right now, but wow, that lake has dried up. That lake's kind of representative of my mental health right now. Where it used to be pretty good, now it's just gone. There's a little bit left. Anyway, so in terms of mental health updates, that's kind of where I am today. Love to hear from you guys, kind of understanding kind of if you've experienced some of the same challenges, what you have done to help counteract those. Again, one of the big tenets of the channel is to promote mental health for everybody, writers, non-writers, anybody who's watching this video, to be a proponent for our mental health. I think, the world we live in today is filled with negativity and pessimism and just overall a very, very difficult outlook. We've all got so many things going on in our lives that make finding the good things in life to be very challenging. Anything that we can do as a community to come together, build each other up, hold each other up, share those lessons learned, and create a positive mental space. So on to the second topic for today, which is kind of future plans. So if you've been following my Instagram, you probably already kind of know where this conversation is going to go. I posted some pictures the other day. I went and test rode a road glide special from Harley Davidson House of Thunder in Morgan Hill. And, really keeping an open mind in terms of what I want my next bike to be. And I'm pretty convinced, I'm down to two, mainly because of availability of what's in my area. But looking at the Indian Challenger as well as the Harley Davidson Road Glide Special. I think both of those are absolutely fantastic bikes, and keeping an open mind. So there's definitely some things on one bike that I love that the other doesn't have, and that goes for both bikes. I'm really trying to figure out what's the right bike for me, and if we can come to a price point that works for what I'm looking for with all the upgrades and everything else that I would like. So it's challenging. I don't like I like the process of getting the new bike. I don't like the process of buying the bike. And like the whole negotiating and the back and forth and the blah blah blah. What my strategy is to kind of have a number in my mind, go to the dealer and say, hey, this is my number. If you can make it work, you got a deal. But given that it's a seller's market right now, and the fact that the bike I'd want would be a 2022, so I'd have to pre-order it, there's very little wiggle room on that. It's pretty much you're gonna have to pay what they're offering. With it being a pre-order, it's not like they're really losing money on a bike that's on the store. It's not like it's something burning a hole in the pocket and they need to get rid of that inventory. So they're coming from a position of strength, and there's really not much I can do to negotiate down from there. The Challenger is more expensive from the get-go, but it does come with more of the options that I would be looking for out of the box, right? One example being the locking saddlebags with the key fob versus the Road Glide Special. It's a key lock, so it's not a key fob lock. So just that quality of life stuff, or like the traction control, that comes standard on the Indian Challenger Dark Horse, but it does not on the Road Glide Special. That's an add-on that you have to pay for. So adding up everything together and all that, it's the price points are pretty much going to be the same. Is it really going to be something where am I going to be comfortable spending nearly 40 grand on a freaking toy? Because I don't need the bike. It's honestly, I don't need a bike. It's a luxury item. It's a toy. And am I willing to spend nearly 40 grand on a toy? Granted, I have full expectation I'm going to keep this toy for a very long time. Trying to do some soul searching there and everything else. Setting up those numbers and trying to talk to different dealers and trying to know, okay, and it's, it's really hard to know with all the back and forth. The sellers will say, yeah, this is something we can work with you on. This is something we can't work with you on. And of course, all the numbers are generally the same, but there'll be some nuances within there. Like for one dealer, their shipping and handling is $1,250, whereas another dealer is $500. And yet on the Indian website, it says $900 for shipping and freight. And I get it; they're incentivized to make as much money off of me as possible. And I am obviously incentivized to spend as little as possible, but I just want to find a happy middle ground. I'm not really of the type where I need to get the best possible deal I'm willing to pay more to help them out because I do want to support local businesses and all that good stuff, and create those partnerships. But I also do want to find something where I'm not getting absolutely screwed over. And that's where I'm trying to say, here's the number. I don't care what you got to do on that number, but when I give them a number and they're like, yeah, we can't do that. So now they're playing, like, again, long story short, how much of it is they're playing hardball and how much of it is me being patient versus how much of it is being a difficult customer or a difficult client. So that's where I'm at, trying to see if we can make a deal. But either way, whatever we come up to, it would be putting down a deposit at the end of the day, and then the bike would likely come in sometime February, March timeframe next year, which would be right around the time for my birthday. So that would be pretty cool if that were to work out. That's going to be about it for today, everybody. I'm going to enjoy myself for the rest of this ride, enjoy this beautiful weather, this beautiful scenic nature landscape, and really just be in the moment. So as always, everybody, be brave, do good, take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.